sense, a continuation of a process which began with the withdrawal of the Americans from Afghanistan in August. That was seen as the American power at its nadir. That was seen as the American power at its lowest. It was seen as something like the Vietnam debacle in 1975. Very demoralizing at a time when Biden's situation at home, his popularity ratings were going down. People were talking about, even a magazine like The Economist was talking about a civil war situation. Even like Banco's ghost, you had Trump trailing him, and he was more or less caught up with Biden in the popularity stakes. They were more or less equal. Economy was doing badly, and race relations were there abysmal, and in all these, everything was going badly internally for the president. And he had done Afghanistan. A little bit of a rearguard action was tried in Kazakhstan, where they tried for regime change and failed. And that is when Russian profile became very high, because the Russian-led regional alliance formed after the collapse of the Soviet Union was invoked by Tokayev, and Russians moved in. And at that time, the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, said, remember a famous statement, the funny thing is, when Russians come to your house, they sometimes do not leave. Just then, the Russian troops, under the auspices of that organization, were withdrawing, having completed their task. Now these are all, the nose was being rubbed in the dust. Then Ukraine, how America must somehow rehabilitate itself in world affairs. How does it do it? Even if Biden is a peacenik, he wants to reorganize internally the America of today. There is Raytheon, there is Martin Lockheed, there are all these big, what Eisenhower used to call the military-industrial complex. These people, they want war. They want to sell their arms. They want to sell, and even before a war having broken out, arms have already been sent to Ukraine. Someone is paying for them. If you in Ukraine, British arms, American arms, under NATO, they're already there. Now there is, the problem here is that since 1991, the collapse of the Soviet Union, the agreement was, which was signed in 1997, that there will be no further eastward move towards the Russians of NATO. Today, NATO already has added 14 new states, all from the former Soviet Union. Now, Putin, who feels a little more buoyant, both militarily and generally in international affairs, and having the total support of China, he says, look, this is my red line. He has kept 120,000 troops on the borders of Ukraine, and he says, I am not invading, but you will not incorporate Ukraine or Georgia into NATO, because that is my red line. Now, these people are saying, we can't give you a guarantee that we shall not. Well, then he says, then in that case I will keep my troops, but they are on my side of the border. So Europe is the one that will bear the brunt. Too insecure Anglo-Saxon leaders want it. Boris Johnson wants it because he is virtually at the edge of the precipice. He very nearly lost his job. And if he continues, he will only do the Conservatives more harm than good. Because with him in the saddle, the Labour Party will have a huge advantage in the next elections. So he wants to recover some ground with an external action. Biden wants to recover some ground. These two Anglo-Saxon powers, but the world is not all Anglo-Saxon. Europe consists of Macron, who is miffed with the Americans for having created AUKUS, taken away his billion-dollar nuclear submarine project to Australia. He is not very happy with the Americans. Result is, while the Americans are saying Russians are about to invade, the German naval chief who was in Delhi for a seminar said, this is nonsense. All that Putin, quote, all that Putin was is a little respect, which I suspect, said the naval chief, I suspect he deserves. When he went home, he resigned. Now that is, indication is that Germany wears two hats. The assessment of Germany on what Russian intention is was given by the naval chief. But he resigned. Why? Because Germany also wears a European hat. Germany is part of Europe. Now, Germany is a very interesting proposition. Two world wars were fought over Germany. There is a great fear in Anglo-Saxon minds about the rise of Germany. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. One system won, the other system lost. The victorious system went and created, put its imprimatur on its success by creating Operation Desert Storm. What was Operation Desert Storm? It was an imprimatur by the West to reorder the world order now in the post-Soviet phase in favor of the Anglo-Saxon dominance of that system. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that when the Soviet Union fell, an argument was launched, why do you need NATO anymore? NATO was there against the Soviet threat. Soviet is gone. No, said Mrs. Thatcher. She was the Prime Minister then in an interview in Helsinki. She says, no, why do you need your nuclear deterrent? The reporter asked. And she says, oh, we still have a problem in the Middle East. So they needed a nuclear deterrent for a problem in the Middle East. Now what really is the problem? The problem is this, that if the world global order is reorganized, the Germans will come on top. And why will Germans come on top? Because while the Soviet Union collapsed, Germany was also reunified. Reunification of Germany gave more muscle to Germany. And that was also the phase when Japanese economy was doing very well. So the phobia, Axis is coming, became very pronounced. Anyway, then came the next one. You had the Yugoslavia breakup. No European powers recognize the constituent parts of former Yugoslavia, except Genscher, the foreign minister of Germany. What did he do? He recognized Croatia, which had fought in the Second World War along with the Germans. This set the cat among the pigeons. Germans are coming, Axis is coming. Because at that very time, the Cardinal Kukovic of the Croatian church, he had gone to Rome and met the Pope. So, oh my God, again. So therefore, this has been the phobia. England is across the sea, across the English Channel. America is across Atlantic. So these two countries have been shuttling to Putin and to Biden and saying, let us defuse the problem. Let us defuse the problem. And the biggest problem of all, of course, always, whenever there is American action, please look around and smell for some oil and gas. There is a South Stream which brings gas from Russia into Germany and therefore Europe. Now a Nord Stream is being created, which will deny, it is through the sea, so it will deny Ukraine its transit fees, and Russian stranglehold on Europe will become that much stronger. Therefore, Mr. Biden and Mr. Boris Johnson do not want this to happen. Europe becoming hostage to, they will not have it. And this is what the crisis is all about. Now, meanwhile, there is a problem within Ukraine, an area called Donbass, which abuts Russia, is all Russian, Russian-speaking, Russian sympathizers. Now that if you are going to train people in Kiev and the parts of Ukrainian nationalists, then you are creating conditions for civil war there. So there are a whole cascading shades of interests operating in this whole game of Ukraine. And it could go either way. At the moment, Putin is holding his nerve. Germany and Macron do not want it. Biden is running around helter-skelter, saying that, look, we need action. To sum up, Vladimir Putin is keeping his nerve. Germany and France do not want any action. Britain and America would like a little bit of turbulence so that they have a role and some preeminence in the global theater. The internal situation in Ukraine, on the other hand, is cause for trouble. It is not altogether, one cannot be sanguine about the situation.